Cognac lovers, it's the perks of cognac, and today we are reviewing Courvoisier Avant-Garde. This is a special cognac because it is aged in a bourbon secondary cask, a bourbon cask, which can give it, a wide variety of flavors. I want to see the influence, what it has on the cognac today. Let's do it. This is my dad, Richard. What we love to do with a new bottle is slap on the bottom. And now we get to the taste. Let's do it. You can do the honors, open it up. All right, you can see it there. Avant-Garde Bourbon Cask Edition. On the back it says, this expression from the House of Courvoisier pushes the boundaries outside our home of Cognac, France, through aging a second time in Kentucky bourbon barrels. Courvoisier Avant-Garde is a tribute to craftsmanship coming together and create something new and exceptional. I've only tried one other bourbon cask cognac and I really enjoyed it. For whiskey drinkers, this may be a cognac you'll love to get into, so let's see here. Alright, we'll dive right into it. Let's see how the nose is. Oh. I get a lot of fruit up front, do you?
I get a lot of fruit
and wood.
You can definitely tell it's a combination. You get the smell of the fruit because of the grapes from the cognac, but you also get that wood.
Kind of like that wood from the caramel.
Bourbon barrel. Yeah.
We're also big whiskey people. I would say bourbon is my kind of my second love between bourbon and cognac. I have a lot of experience with bourbon, and bourbon you typically get a lot of wood, caramel, kind of vanilla notes, a little bit stone fruit in bourbon. So taking that, bourbon has a lot of wood influence because it has to be put in a new charred barrel. Bringing that over to cognac, you can already smell on the nose that there's a secondary influence here. You can see the color there. It's a little bright, so I don't think the bourbon barrel gave too much influence on the color. Still looks like a typical cognac. I don't think they don't give a age here. So I'm not sure if this is a VS or VSOP range, but I'm sure this is going to be good either way. But I do believe it's probably older VS and VSOP, judging by the price. How much was this?
It was pretty reasonably priced, state minimum, so there was no secondary market with it. So you'll probably be able to find it in the probably in the $50-$60 range.
Yeah, so judging it, I would say maybe VSOP range. I wouldn't think it would be over that because Courvoisier has an XO that's $150 around there. So judging by that, I think it's on the younger side, but that's not bad.
Also, Courvoisier is one of the leaders in secondary distillations. They were one of the first ones to do it. Previously, they did a sherry cask.
Yeah, I remember that one.
It's hard to find at the moment. A lot of places it's out of stock. You may be able to find it online at a few places, but the sherry cask was very good. And like I said, as far as cognac goes, Courvoisier is one of the originators and trendsetters as far as doing a second distillation.
Yeah, also a tip on top of that, whiskey has a ton of secondary barreling, secondary distillation. Cognac, not so much. I've only seen the one we had from Bosch Gabrielson when we visited there. They had a bourbon cask. Courvoisier has a bourbon cask and a sherry cask, but outside of that, very, very few, or we've only had one other, what was that? Yeah, Pierre Ferrand, that was a port wine cask.
Yeah, Pierre Ferrand.
Besides that, not much. So this is really a treat to be able to have here. Let's go on to the palate. That's nice.
Very smooth. Smooth.
Very smooth, and you can definitely tell that bourbon cask influence. A little woodier than a typical cognac would be. A little bit more caramel. I get almost a nuttiness as well on the back end, on the finish there. But the fruit's still very prevalent though. Nice fruit sweetness. Bit of a darker fruit, not as bright.
Getting a little bit of, like I said, a little bit of the caramel notes, a little bit of the wood notes. Also, it tends to dance across your palate. It's not lingering. It's fleeting, but it's good.
Going for another sip there.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that is a very, very easy sipper. I'm telling
I
you.
would almost be interested in trying this over ice, honestly. That's great.
I get a little hint of the bourbon. Is not.
It's not overpowering.
It's not overpowering.
It's a nice engagement.
Yeah, you get it on the back end. Up front, you get the cognac up front, and you get the bourbon on the back.
It's a nice marriage they have here. I think it's a great balance. Having, the nice kind of caramel from the bourbon intertwined with the fruit of cognac. That's a great balance, a great marriage. They've done an excellent job here. Because sometimes, it might be hard to not get too much of that bourbon influence. Because sometimes, like for instance, I had a coffee put in, it's not cognac, but I had coffee put in a bourbon barrel, but it was too much. I drank the coffee and some of those subtle coffee notes weren't there. It was just a lot of burnt wood, which can be not what favorable notes you can get out of bourbon, kind of over oaked, but this is a perfect marriage. Very, it's a nice blend here. I enjoyed it. The finish is still good too. I can still feel it lingering a little bit, but it doesn't overstay its welcome. This is a nice, smooth, great flavor cognac. I think even, would you say bourbon drinkers might like this as an introduction to cognac?
Very, very much so. Very much so.
I think that's why they do it, because even though it's, cognac's their main thing, I mean, they want to introduce other people to cognac, and bourbon and whiskey is one of the biggest markets in the world.
Yeah.
So you want to get some of those people who might enjoy cognac too, and so I think that's what they're aiming for with this bourbon cask finish, because there are a plethora of bourbons aged in cognac cask. So that's what they're looking for, that secondary kind of fruit note. Here, man, it's a great balance. That's a very, very good cognac.
Yeah, I would definitely purchase it again. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, Courvoisier Avant-Garde bourbon cask. This is definitely perk approved. Definitely want to pick this up. If you are a bourbon drinker, I think this is an excellent cognac to introduce yourself to cognac. But yeah, I have nothing bad here. This is a great bottle.
Yeah.
All right.
Agreed.
Thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for my next video, and you guys have a great one.